What's up, everybody? What's going on to all my people out there in the gig economy, gig world, gig space? Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. If you don't celebrate Christmas, my apologies. Happy holidays to you. It's all that good stuff. I wanted to bring this video. It's going to be short and sweet. It was just something I happened to be watching. So Pedro, he posted something, a short that popped up on my phone this morning.
We're going to get into this tonight.
Very, very strong PSA regarding DoorDash delivery service. First of all, if you know anything about DoorDash, you know that they do not pay us anything. They pay us $2.25 a ride. Doesn't matter how much items, where you're going. It's horrible. They pay their employees nothing. Got there, the food was messed up from Chick-fil-A. It happens. So I called Chick-fil-A to let them know I was coming. They realized their mistake. He sent me this text, screenshot of his actual order from DoorDash. Okay. But I started adding up the math on this because I thought, damn, that is a lot of money for 4 items. But as it doesn't come to $36.15. I don't know who's doing their math over there. What we came to find out is that everything came to $47.44. Tax twice, a $3.99 delivery fee twice, and a service fee for $5.42 twice, which totaled the $59.38.
She basically is saying that there was a lot of extra hidden fees. DoorDash is stealing from drivers as well as customers. We all knew that.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
This is a glitch, obviously. When you order from these sites, these third-party apps, you know that they're going to overcharge you. And the reason why they overcharge you is due to what they charge the restaurants. They charge the restaurant a 30% transaction fee. A lot of restaurants will bump up their price for that reason so that they can actually still see a profit. DoorDash adds extra fees on top, which I think is a little crazy because they're already getting a 30% fee from the actual restaurant owners. Hey, but they got to make money somehow, right? If you're getting the 30% from the restaurant, then why not just give the driver the full amount? They give the driver this lowball offer, and then they still keep some of those delivery fees. They have delivery fees, and then they have a bunch of other hidden fees. So why are they doing this to drivers? But I also wanted to speak on some of the comments that I saw. And one of the comments in particular was they were really getting on this woman for referring to, I guess, herself or drivers as employees. Now, let's look at some of the comments. I want to point out one in particular where he basically says, we are. I mean, look at it. We are. And if you think about it in a sense, and his exact words was this. I'm going to put it up right here. Okay? Some people may really think we're not employees, we're this. Let me explain something to you. We are, in fact, glorified employees. I'm going to say that again. We are, in fact, glorified employees. Yeah, you have freedom to just go on the app whenever you please. Okay, but you cannot negotiate. Now, some of you are going to say, I can negotiate because I can decline. I just decline. I'm part of decline now. Listen, declining orders does not mean you're negotiating. I'm sorry to tell you, but anybody who is a real independent contractor, my father-in-law, he works in HVAC. He does heating and AC repair. He is what you would call a true independent contractor. He has a company that does call him and say, hey, we got a job. This is how much the job is willing to pay. And he'll say, no, supplies are going to cost this much. The job is going to take about this amount of time. I need this amount of money for it. You understand? That is what we call a true independent contractor. One thing that we don't have is we don't have a skill. Delivering food is not a skill, okay? It is not. I'm sorry to tell you guys. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. But if you want to be a true independent contractor, you need to develop some sort of skill, okay? Whether that is welding, like I said, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, a mechanic, web graphic and art design, clothing design, whatever it is you want to get into, photography, videography, I don't care what it is. The only true way to be a 100% real independent contractor, people, not what DoorDash wants to classify us as. They put this in your head to brainwash you, to make you think you're your own boss. You are not, okay? Just because you get to go out when you want to go out does not mean you are your own boss, because a person that is their own boss can determine what they want to be paid. If you work as a owner operator and you drive a truck, you are a boss. That is a independent contractor, because when you are an owner operator in a truck, you can say, nah, I'm not taking that rate. You can call up a freight broker and say to the broker, hey, that's a little low. I could do it, but I need this amount. When you have the power to negotiate, that is an independent contractor. But when you do what we do, I'm sorry, you're not an independent contractor. Newsflash, people, you're not. That is just a glorified way to brainwash the people who do it. Why? Because their business model is they don't have a company. They don't own cars. They don't own any vehicles. They're not set up like, quote unquote, a traditional W-2 or employer, okay? But they have all of the same traits with a lot of little loopholes. Hence why in California, they did what they did with Prop 22. That's why they also did that with leasing trucks, lease owners, okay? Anybody who knows about Prime or any of the big mega carriers and into that whole trucking space, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you can go look it up. You can research it. But there's a lot of companies that will allow you to, they'll pay for you to train to learn how to become a truck driver. And then you can go straight into their lease program where you're leasing a truck, you're making payments, and it's coming out of your weekly statements. And that's how you're basically paid, and you're quote unquote an independent contractor because you're paid 1099 and you're not W-2. But yet, let's understand something. You still don't really have negotiation power. They get a load through the company. They shoot you the load. You can say, hey, I want to take it, or no, I don't. But you can't say, hey, I want to take it for this amount. Can they give me this? Doesn't work like that. So in essence, it's the same thing. Those guys aren't technically 100% independent contractors. They're just put down on paper as independent contractors and exploited. Okay? That is all this stuff is. It's exploitation. Okay? It's a way for them to not have to be financially responsible for taxes. All right? Because they're not technically a regular employer. All right? So I just want y'all to understand that. That was really the point that I wanted to drive home. I could care less about what the video was really about, and it's no disrespect to the content or what the lady was referring to, but we all knew that. You know what I'm saying? We all knew that those things could happen. That's a glitch. I've ordered from DoorDash many times myself. That's never happened to me personally, or ordering from DoorDash or any other app where I've gotten charged twice. But we all know that the prices are inflated. Hopefully this video helps you understand why they are inflated for those people who may not know or may not get it. But that's it, man. I'm just going to sign off there. You got to rethink things. You got to reconsider things. And you got to look at this as a way to start whatever business endeavor that you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, you better start thinking about it and trying to figure it out. And think about what your next move is going to be. Because this stuff is not going to be around forever. They're trying to go autonomous. You already know that. We already know that. So eventually they're going to start pushing you off the platform. And because you are an independent contractor, let's be honest, they can end that contract at any given time for any given reason. And by law, they don't have to really tell you why. Okay? It is what it is. There's a lot of W-2 employers that can do that as well. If a lot of you, when you go on job interviews and you fill out paperwork, you need to start reading it. Because if you was reading that information, there's a lot of states that by law, they could terminate you for any given reason and not even have to give you an explanation as to why. So this is why it's very important to position yourself in power. Make power moves. And what I mean by that is figuring out what your niche is, learning it, discovering what you love, what you don't love, and embracing it and turning it into a cash flow for yourself. Keep investing in your business. Do not get the money from that said business and start trying to go splurge and live this luxurious lifestyle. Make sure that you're putting that back, those resources back into your business, whether it be branding, marketing, supplies, expanding. If you have a fleet or you're trying to start a fleet, hey, make sure you're getting more vehicles. Don't just get one truck or one cargo van or whatever. Or even if you want to do your own like limousine service, chauffeur service, or your own sort of taxi service. Don't just get one car, make some money, and call it a day. You need to expand. If you're not thinking about expansion, I don't even think you should be self-employed. Self-employed is cool, but you want to get to a point where you can expand. Unless you get into a field that has super high demand, like some of those trades that I mentioned, then you can focus on just you doing it. But if you're trying to do something like a taxi service, it's very oversaturated. You're going to compete with major companies like Lyft and Uber. Okay, and then there's other ones like Empowered just came out in the DMV area, and then they have some other ones that's they're working on. There's too much competition, and you're like a small person in that competition. Not to mention you already have traditional taxi services that are already around in your local vicinity. Plus you have yellow cabs. I mean, the list goes on and on. So getting in that line of work, you need to be thinking about scalability. How can you scale that up? How can you get numerous cars and get other people to drive so that you can keep making money and making profits from those other people versus just making profit off of just your work? Because eventually you may not be able to do much of anything with that. But if you get a real trade, something that really makes sense, whether you are an accountant, anything like that, anything in the tech space, find something that you can scale it up, and make it to the next level, or something that if you do it by yourself, you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, when it comes to somebody like an electrician, you can be an electrician and work on your own. You don't need a major company to back you. You don't need anything. You don't even have to hire any other electrician. You can literally do that on your own because you have a skill that is a skill set, like, a special set of skills.
Are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
That you can use and starts you a real business. If you're an electrician or you're a plumber or you're getting into HVAC work or you're doing any of those things, any of these things that I mentioned, document it. Make a YouTube channel. You have passive income right there by just documenting what you already love, your passion, and what you're doing. There's other people that are trying to get into the same career space as you. So they would love to see your journey and how you improve and how you've learned and how you evolve and what the process is like. There's people who are watching from afar that will love what you're doing. Find your niche. Find what you love to do. Don't just do something for money. Don't just do something because it'll give you a good pay. Do it because you actually love it. And while you're learning to perfect it, document it, post it on YouTube. Because I promise you, there's somebody out there that wants to watch what you're doing. They want to see what the process is like. There's people, why do you think ride-along videos do so well? Ride-along videos do well because you have two types of viewers. You have the viewer that never did it and is curious about how it works. And then you have the viewer who's currently doing it and likes to see something that they can relate to. And those two things work in any career field. That's it. I'm going. Peace.